Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. We are going to be replacing the headlamps in this 2000 Excursion, and they may not look too bad on camera, but I think you'll see the difference, how much of a difference there is when I get the new lenses all the way in. This is not particularly hard to do, it just takes a little bit of patience and a couple of tools, and of course, parts, which we have right here. We have our main headlamps, and then we have our turn signal lamp assemblies, and then I think I left the bulbs in this box too. I may not have. I may have put them somewhere else. But got all that, and the new main headlamps do come with bulbs in them. I bought bulbs because I'm dumb, and I didn't need to. So I'm gonna go find the rest of the bulbs because I'm pretty sure the turn signal lamps don't come with them. And then I'll get set up and I'll show you guys how to take all this off and put it all back on. All right, well, Power Stroke Panther came out here, even though we're not working on diesel today, Cat. Anyway, we're gonna start with the turn signal lamps because they're not very difficult to get out. If you can see down in there, and I can't see through the camera, the sun's shining right on it, but if you can see in there, way back in there, there's a screw there, and there's another screw right there. You take those two screws out, which I'm not going to be able to show you on camera because the camera would be in the way, or my hands would be in the way of the camera. But you take those screws out, and then this whole turn signal lamp snaps into place. So you can just kind of gently pry it out. And if your fender's not foobarred and your bumper's not shoved up like it is on my pickup, then it should be pretty easy to get those out. And I advise a magnetic screwdriver. If not, you can, to get them back in is kind of a pain without the magnetic screwdriver, but you can always put like tape on them or something and start them that way. But like I said, when your bumper's not shoved up right on top of your turn signal lamp, you can get in there a lot easier and get stuff out. So I'll go ahead and do that and we'll go from there. All right, both screws are out. No, they're not. I lied. There's one screw left that I forgot to take all the way out. There it is. I dropped it. There it is. Yeah, don't lose those screws. You can find them other places, but the reason I decided to come back with the camera and show you is, yeah, you may break some stuff, but that's okay. Whatever comes out like that, there it is. Whatever comes out like that can get screwed back in. I'm pretty sure that came off the lamp assembly though, but the reason, make sure the camera's still focusing here, the reason I went ahead and showed you guys how that popped out is because when you pull it out, you got to disconnect these. They're going to break, but just vibrate that. Is there one on the bottom too? Yep. Get these loose. If you break the tabs off, don't worry about it. You can always tape them or zip tie them in. This one's easier. There's a push tab right there that you can grab, and maybe if it's not, oh, it's full of dirt. If it is full of dirt, what you can do is twist that and pop it out. Make sure you hang on to these grommets. They don't always send them. Same with this here. You'll need this socket unless you ordered new ones. And then, well, where'd that piece go? That piece I was showing you, it went right there. If I can get the camera focused right on the upper part. It's not a big deal to get them off, but if you're wanting to preserve these, you do have to be careful, because if you break them like that, and see this should not have broke that easily. It should have come out a lot easier, but it was just so old. And now that that's out of there, we can go get the new one, get it in, and also clean this connector out so that I can get the socket unplugged. And I think I'll go ahead and replace the bulbs while I'm in here. It'd be smart to do that. So let me go gather all my stuff and I'll bring you guys back. All right, that angle ought to suit you guys pretty good. So it took a while to pull this socket out, and you can leave them in. You don't have to take them out. It's just a lot easier to do that and to put them in the new assembly without trying to fight the vehicle. So I didn't order exactly the right bulbs. These right here are supposed to be instrument panel light bulbs, because on your instrument cluster, you've got little tiny bulbs, and then you've got larger ones. Those will illuminate. I'm trying to think. Well, it would like just illuminate your whole cluster at night. It's like that size of bulb that does it. There's a couple of them in there. So because I didn't order these bulbs individually, I just robbed them out of those sockets, and they'll be fine. And there was nothing wrong with this turn signal, but if I'm in here, I might as well do the new ones. So you also want to make sure you wipe the bulbs off. Don't leave your finger oil on them. That's not good. So come here to this, grab that grommet, break her loose, get it out of there, and then gently get it on your new socket. Wipe your thing off. Then you can come over to here, and it should, there's really only one way for these things to go in if you pay attention. They'll line up a certain way. I believe that's right. Nope. If not, if you can't find it, just keep turning it until it's right. And then eventually it will, there we go. And then it just twists down into place like so. Now you have to do is just go plug it in. And it's the same principle over here. You can see that some of these, like this one's a different size than these two, they all line up a certain way. But this one ought to be a lot easier to go ahead and replace. And I do actually have new ones of those. Now, safety tip, just in case for whatever reason that glass is fragile, I advise, oh, bumped the camera. I advise pulling it out, grabbing the lens with a paper towel. That way if it shatters, you don't slice your fingers to oblivion. And like I said, I do have new ones of those. There's a part number. We'll just go ahead and pull one out. Come on now. Go. Yeah, I ordered a whole box of the damn things. And then, like I said, just, you don't want your finger oil on there, so wipe that off. And then press it in. It should snap into place. Now the grommet stayed on this socket, so we find our lugs. There's the big one there. Take it, line it up, and twist it into place. And then, there we go. Kind of show you the difference here a little bit. You can't really tell. These actually, the turn signal lamps aren't too bad on this, but I think you'll be able to see it better when it's in the vehicle, which is where we are going to go next now that everything's done. Oh, also, there's a little like vent tube right here. Make sure that that's on there and it's not clogged. If you're just removing these and you're not replacing them, make sure that vent tube is clear, because these bulbs do get hot and they will build up heat in here, and they do need to release some of that pressure or whatever that's in there. Just make sure that tube's okay. Now, this lamp assembly, while not perfect, is actually in not that bad a shape. Man, that's original Ford too. How about that? This came from the factory. That's probably 23 years old. But I'm going to go ahead and hang on to it because there's nothing really wrong with it necessarily. The big headlamps are the ones I wanted to get to. And before we pop this turn signal lamp assembly back in, come here. We're going to go ahead and get in here and get this lamp out here. So I've already started. There's two places it's secured. Kind of stand here in the shade so you can see. It's secured up here with a tab, and it's also secured back in here, and there's a tab right there. Now here's a problem with those tabs, and the ones I bought I think are the same, because I bought some. Where are they? They were in here. Well, they send new ones. So you see, here's the top, and then you see how they kind of have these fingers? They grab onto these pegs here, which are slotted. Those little fingers grab onto those pegs to keep everything in place. So it's really difficult to get those clamps off without breaking them, because they are very fragile. Since they send new ones, you're almost better off to just break the damn things and put the new ones on. But if you can save them, if you can get in there and like pry them apart and then pry them up, power to you. You might be able to use snap ring pliers if you can get in there. If you could get in there with them, you could probably use snap ring pliers to pry it apart and then pull it up. And I might try that real quick and see if it works, but that won't be on camera. There's no need for it. So once that's out, then you have a third end down here that sits on the bottom. You can't see it. This is how you adjust the angle of the headlight, which I'll show you how I do it when we put this one in. But for now, since we have that lamp assembly ready, we're going to go ahead and pull that headlight out and throw the new one in and see how it goes. All right, all out. Took me a minute though. This one here I was able to save. Let me move the new lamp assembly out of the way. I was able to save that one. I pried one side out and just kind of pulled up on it with screwdrivers. There's no good way to do it. You might as well just sacrifice these. This one that sits in here though, that's a real challenge to get out, and I can't give you any specific advice on how to get it out. What you could try and do is reach down in there and break off those side fingers or bend them out of the way. If you've got some small screwdrivers like this, you could get down in there and pry those back out of the way. Then you could grab this and just pull it straight up and it would come out fine. Now, for this little area down here, that's a real challenge right there. See, that is, get this back over here, that is this piece right here. And it's on a ball joint, okay? So, see, I can like move it over. So, in my opinion, the best way to do this is to get this one loose, then this one, and then come in here and essentially pry the lamp assembly out of there. And then I'll come over to the old one and show you. On the old lamp assembly, this is where it sits on the bottom. It's got the ball stud that sits in there. Just pry it out, and then once that's out, you can come back here. This sits behind the frame. You have to squeeze these two ears together, and it sucks to do, but you squeeze those ears together and then you can pull this whole thing out. But prying the lamp assembly off of this adjuster, off that ball, is the best way to do it, especially if you're not wanting to damage this. I plan to keep this. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with these. I mean, they work. It's just they're old and they're dingy, you know. They don't look bad on camera, but when we come over here to the new one, you can tell there's a bit of a difference. So, to put it back in is the reverse of assembly, or it should be. Heck, I might be able to do it one-handed. So, oh, another thing. This collar right here does slide, just lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. It slides off. You plug your thing in, and then you put that collar back over and tighten her down. And I guess that helps protect your circuit. That's the old one. You can usually grab onto them by hand. There's your plug-in right there. And once you pull that collar off, you can get to the plug-in. It essentially just pulls off. There's a tab that retains it, yeah, but you don't have to pull up on that tab. It's split right down there. I don't think you guys can see it. Let me get you in here. See how it's split right there? It essentially just pulls right off. So if you can get this collar out of the way and maneuver it on down the wire, then you can just yank that off, and then when you plug it back in, just remember to slide that collar back over and tighten it down, and you should be good. So what I'm going to do is, through the magic of editing and not filming, I'm going to put all this back together, and you can see the difference, and then I'm going to go do the other side off camera, because I don't think I need to show you both sides. It's the same process. I can't film any of it while I'm doing it because there's just no way for me to get in there and show you guys what the heck is going on. I can only describe it before and after the fact. So let's see what this looks like with the new lamp assemblies in. Then I'll do the other side and we'll finish this video up. Now that looks pretty good. Make sure you get your clips put in, snapped into place, right down. I don't know if I get the camera to see it or not. No, I can't. There's no way. Well, shoot. You can't see it, but the bottom adjuster's in there too. And then as you saw, the plug-in is plugged in. I didn't have to take the collar off. I put it back on, then just plugged it in. So snapped the lower assembly into place, put the screws in, got the top one in. So let's back up here. See how much of a difference that is? And I bet there will be a huge difference at night with these new assemblies in. So another thing I will mention about adjusting them. There's supposed to be a professional way to do it. I don't really know or care what that professional way is, because the lights on my pickup are half crooked, but they're not blinding people as near as I can tell, so I'm going to call it good. The only things that's going to blind is deer. Basically, all I do is just make sure that the main lamp is flush with the turn lamp, and that it's relatively flush with the fender up here. It needs a little bit of adjustment. I think I'll go ahead and suck it in down here a bit, but on this side is pretty good. So if I just bring her in like a little bit down here, if I can, it should be good. And you just come on to right here and right down in there. You can't really see it, but it's there. I promise you. It's just past that clip. There are little things you get in there and you loosen them or tighten them, and you can move your lenses in or out. And like I said, there's supposed to be a professional way to do it, but I don't know what it is, and I don't really care, because these aren't the super bright LEDs. So, and I'm pretty courteous. I turn my damn high beams off well before people get close, so I don't think they're going to get hurt too bad. I've seen people with a lot more crooked headlights than what I drive, and it's never bothered me. So, you know, that's kind of the logic I go off of. But see, these here are just flush, and they were on the other side too. It helps when you don't get into wrecks and screw stuff up. You can make all that flush and purdy, and it works real well. So I'm going to go ahead and bust these two out and get them replaced. It should go a lot faster, and then that'll be done. But we will not be taking it for a test drive to see how the lights work, because right there is a crack in the degas bottle that I have to fix. And by fix, I mean replace all this, and there's other cooling stuff that will be done. That'll be a separate video. But while the car is relatively immobile right now, figured I might as well do these. So I'm going to get the other side done, and I'll show you the finished product, and then we'll call her a day. Now, I would say that that looks a lot better. Everything is now shiny. Everything is nice and flush and smooth, and that ought to last this thing another 20 years and another 200,000 miles, assuming it lives that long. And it ought to. These Excursions are pretty well built. So yeah, that's how you replace all that. And I know this wasn't really the best, but hopefully that'll help you out if you're ever wanting to replace these. I will note, as I figured this out the hard way, the bumper on this is actually a little crooked. This side is lower than this side, but it's still not as bad as it is on the front of my pickup. So that's how you replace your headlamp assemblies on Triton V10s. I will have all the part numbers and stuff in the description below. I got everything from Rock Auto, so you can get everything from one place. And just hope that helps someone. Let me know if it does. And until the next time, you guys take care.